Well, West Ham is hosting Manchester United at the London Stadium, and we're here to bring you the match preview. But these two teams are all having different agendas on the different levels of the Premier League table. United is really fighting to see to it that they go ahead and really win this game of football to really cement their position into the Champions League next season, and West Ham are trying to find themselves back to winning ways, having spent 3 games without winning any. They've gone ahead to concede 9 goals in the previous 3 games, and they've sat, I think, 15th onto the Premier League table. Welcome to this channel, as United Matters channel. How are you guys? I know you're watching us from, I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If at all you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. So it's always a pleasure to have you on this channel, and we're here to do this. And it's really a hectic season for me as a fan of United, especially owning a fan channel of United, because you know that you are supposed to be doing 2 match previews per week. You know, ever since the World Cup started, ever since the World Cup ended, we've been doing 2 previews per week. Do you know what that means? It's pretty hectic, because if at all it's a normal season, you sometimes find yourself resting for like 1 or 2 weeks, then you play another game. So it's always hectic, right? But no matter what, we are dedicated to serving you guys. We cannot find ourselves in a position of not talking to you every time you guys have something you need to be told about. Now, Man United, last game they played against Brighton and we lost 1-0. You know, that game was played on Thursday. Luke Shaw was responsible for that handball that resulted into us conceding a penalty that saw McAllister leave it late for Brighton and score that penalty in the dying minutes to make it 1-0 for Brighton. West Ham, we are beaten by Man City by 3-0, and their previous 3 fixtures, they are not having any win. They lost to Crystal Palace 4-3, and they lost to Liverpool 2-1. Those are their recent fixtures that they went ahead ready to play as a team of West Ham. But for a team known as Manchester United, I think our previous 2 fixtures, apart from that of Brighton, we beat Aston Villa by 1-0, and then it was Everton, I think. Yeah, beating Everton by 2-0. That's it. Those are the previous 2 fixtures that went ahead to God and win. And before we lost to Brighton, we had drawn with Spurs 2-2, and then beat Aston Villa by 1-0. There was a 1-0 beating of Brentford and then Everton. Now, when you look at West Ham, they're also having a tricky game. Next Thursday, they are playing into the semi-finals of the Conference Cup, of the Conference League, and they are playing AZ Alkmaar. So we don't know what the manager of West Ham is going to do, because their next game is going to be playing away at Brentford, another game of football that's going to be high competitive. But if I told you you've been asked and you're manager of West Ham, on the 2 teams, United and Brentford, which team would you go ahead and really put your all efforts in? I think it will be a team of Brentford, because to beat United, it will need them to really go ahead and really put in a lot of effort, and United has just gone ahead to lose another game away. And I think if United create the chances they created against Brighton, and they really gain their composure, they'll find themselves on the score sheet and they really win that game of football. And I see United win written all over this game of football. I see very many pundits coming out through and really not giving United a chance into this game of football. It's going to be hard. I understand it's going to be a hard game. In the Premier League, there is no game that is really simple. Every game is really hard, but it depends on how you come on and really showcase your efforts into that level of winning off this game. So to me, I look at West Ham and understand that they are really a wounded lion, and United is a wounded lion, though West Ham has been wounded very many times, but I'm waiting to see how they're going to go ahead and react. But losing 3-0 to Man City, they never had Declan Rice, Thomas Souček and Nayed Augard. The trio was unavailable at Etihad, but they are returning back and they trained with the team on Friday, and the manager is going to have to confirm that they are fine and ready to go ahead and really play against the team known as Manchester United. Then Kofo I think is the right back. Then Ginaluka, Skamaka, the centre forward, and Katzuma are unavailable to play against Ten Hag's side, that is Manchester United. But the rest of the players are really back to go on and really do the needful. Alejandro Garnacho is one of those players that we expect to return into the match squad. Lisandro Martinez, Donny van Beek, Scott McTominay, Rafael Varane, and Tom Heaton are all injured. We don't expect them to be part of the squad of United in the game on Sunday. But the rest of the players are really available, and let's wait and see how the game is going to go on and really unfold. But it should be a must-win for Manchester United. I think we are going in with the right attitude of winning this fixture and getting us done and dusted. So let's go eyes into what we call the predicted starting 11 of Manchester United, as we see which system Erik ten Hag is going to play. That is not questioned. It's a 4-2-3-1. That is the system that Erik ten Hag is going to go ahead and really play into this fixture, as United takes on a side known as West Ham at the London Stadium. Let's go to who is going to start. In goal, it's obviously no doubt David De Gea. You know, saved us in the 4th minute and very many other times. Every time Brighton found themselves in attack, and I think Ten Hag has no reason to give for not starting this man known as David De Gea. So we are going to see David De Gea play a very huge part into the game of football in goal, and obviously is one of those players that you will always want to see in the goal of Manchester United. Right back, I think it's going to be Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Is going to be maintained by the manager of Manchester United, having not played any minute in the game of Aston Villa. I think the manager is going to go all out and really bring him in to play again, because he is really a very good player, and he gave a very hard time to Mitoma into that beautiful game of football as we took on Brighton at their stadium. Then left back, one will call on and really call in for Malacia to start. Others will call in for Luke Shaw to be played as a left back, and then you drop Harry Maguire into the central defense. If I'm reading the mind of Erik ten Hag, he's going to go with his team, with this man. Diego Dallo is going to play on the left back. He played 90 minutes in the left back as we played against Brighton, and he was not exposed at all. That's it. So I think he was solid and obviously a very good player. So Ten Hag might find himself in a position, or obviously bringing him in or returning him to play that position. Central defense, right side of the central defense, I think it's going to be Lindelof, Victor. We know how good the player is, and I think he's gonna hate to really put a lot of question marks in the mind of Erik ten Hag on who he should really sell first, Lindelof or Harry Maguire. And I think all indicators are showing that Harry Maguire should be the central defender that Erik ten Hag should sell as soon as the window opens up in the summer. Then on the left side of the central defense, however much really had a bad ending of the game, that is Luke Shaw, but I think he did play a very good game. I think you have to go ahead and really give him this game. That's it. You play him onto the left side of the central defense, that is Luke Shaw, and I think we are going to be solid when you are having Luke Shaw. That is our back five of United, and I think it's really going to be unchanged. It's really going to be unchanged. So I think Ten Hag should do us a favor that he shouldn't bring in Harry Maguire. Let Harry Maguire be on the bench, and I think Harry Maguire should be brought in when business is done in the Premier League to play those games that will be having no aim, you know. But as it stands, we should maintain the standards of Manchester United, and that back four should be really kept, because every time we're going to hate to play, we've kept clean sheets and sometimes only conceded one goal. So I think we should really get ourselves in a position of really playing that back four. Then we go to the central defensive midfield and the double pivot of Manchester United. I know how good Ten Hag likes Casemiro, and I think if at all Erik ten Hag had another player that can do the Casemiro role, I think he wouldn't have gone ahead to start him in the game of West Ham. But because he's the only one that we have, I think Casemiro deserves to start. He had a very bad game against Brighton, and he got a 5.5 rating from me into that game of football. But can we really find ourselves in a position of really getting him back to the levels he played on when he was playing against Aston Villa? I think this can be a perfect game for him to find his form back. So that is Casemiro. He struggled against Brighton like he did at Wembley, but the game of Spurs and the game of Aston Villa, he played very, very well and was really he was really flawless, and we expect him to come back and really be flawless. So he played alongside Fred in the double pivot, and I think the first change of the midfield is going to be made into this position. I think Eriksen is going to be welcomed back into the position of the double pivot alongside Casemiro, as I think the midfield of West Ham is not as tenacious as that of Brighton. He can really have a very good spell onto them. And I remember the goal we scored against them at Old Trafford, it was an Eriksen-Rashford connection that resulted into us getting that one goal at the back post. Rashford just headed that ball home and he made it 1-0 at half time. That is Marcus Rashford. So for me, Eriksen is going to be back, and I think Bruno Fernandes is going to be played as a central attacking midfielder. That is it for Manchester United. That midfield three is going to be operating at full stretch to see to it that the wavelength of that midfield stretches to every corner of the pitch as far as ball distribution is concerned. Let's go to the right attack midfield of the pitch. I think he loves Anthony a lot. Amidst him not having a very good game, I think he's going to go ahead and really start him in this game of football because he wants to balance off the pitch, and obviously that width that he gives us with his left foot in there for you, that sometimes is undecided and is so much predictable of what he's going to do, but I think he can try to do the needful, and obviously bring him on to see to it that really plays that beautiful game of football. But his temper should be one of those things that he should really handle. If at all he cannot handle his temper, he's going to find himself costing us games because of his stupid temper. You know, Casemiro gets a red card in the game of Crystal Palace because of the fight he starts. That's it. And even yesterday, I saw him go into a fight with the West Ham player known as, is it Webster? And if at all it's not Fred who gets hold of him, he had lost his head, he might have gone ahead to throw a punch onto a player. And this is usual of Anthony. It's not unorthodox, you know. He used to do these things at Ajax. That's it. And I think he never played the last games of Ajax that led to the end of the season, because when they are playing Feyenoord in that game that they won 3-2, he got a red card. He got red carded. That is Anthony for you. So I think he's one of those players that should work on his temper. You know, we've always talked about Bruno of being petulant, but obviously, however much he's petulant, he respects and keeps his composure. So, if he is going to go ahead and really do that, I think Ten Hag should really warn him and not even start him, but I believe he's going to start him against West Ham. On the left attacking side of the midfield, we are having Jadon Sancho. I think Jadon Sancho is going to come in and really start into this game of West Ham, as he has been having some good spells every time he's gone ahead to start, and his intensity has always gone ahead to increase every time he's given a game time to play into the mix at Old Trafford and away from Old Trafford. So I expect Jadon Sancho to start into that position, and guess who I expect really the line is really going to be Marcus Rashford. I think Ten Hag is going to bench Anton Martial, not because that he's having a bad spell, but because he needs to really reserve him. He needs to reserve him to be fit, because we don't need to find ourselves in a situation of having only one player known as Marcus Rashford leading that line of Manchester United. So as it stands, I expect Rashford to lead the line, but I won't be surprised if at all Martial really comes in through and starts to play into that role of Manchester United as a centre forward. But there is another scenario I'm even thinking of not even starting Anthony and obviously playing Sabitzer, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro and Eriksen. That's so possible. That is one of those things that he's going to have to go ahead and try on, because he tried it against Aston Villa and it worked on well, and I think he might go out and really drop Anthony and obviously bring in Sabitzer to play that game of football, because you need you need Eriksen and Sabitzer, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro to operate because of their experience and their creative prowess that they have into the game. So that's the predicted starting 11 of Manchester United as we take on West Ham. I think we are going to stand like that. Then later, we'll find ourselves in a position of going all out hard to do the needful and obviously win this game. But we need to see these players facing off those players of West Ham. When you look at Darlow, he will face Bowen. I think he can really win that battle of Gerard Bowen. Then there is Bissaka, Benrahma. He's going to face Benrahma. Luke Shaw and Lindelof are going to face the physical Antonio. So he'll try to bully them, but I think we have all what it takes to win that battle. Then Declan Rice, Shushek, and Lucas Paqueta are going to face Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. Marcus Rashford will face Ogbonna, and Odegaard into that central defense. Who is the left back of? Is it Croswell? The left back of West Ham will face Anthony or Bruno Fernandes. So I believe you're going to win this game. I believe you're going to win this game because we can't really capitulate twice in a period of just 3-4 days. So let's wait and see what the result is going to be for Manchester United between them and the side known as West Ham. So guys, your predictions are welcome in the comment section below. I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. I sign out for now. See you later, my lovely mates. Bye bye.